Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our Sabbath class, the 19th of November, 2022. I'll be dealing with the wisdom of Solomon and expounding on that. Before we do that, I want to ask everybody to go to our YouTube channel, our Prophets of Awakening, and check out our videos. There's a lot of information given. The videos will connect dots for you and bring you into the truth of the Holy Scriptures, or the Tanakh, the Old Testament, those so-called Book of Remembrance. If you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. And for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh is the Old Testament, and the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai. Okay? Shalom and welcome to Prophets of Awakening, and welcome to our Sabbath class. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, Sabbath prayer, and based on the topic today, we're dealing with Solomon. I'm going to read Ecclesiastes 3, chapter 3. Do some current events, some little need to know information, and Q&A. Then we go into the topic. Okay, this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and Yahweh the Creator and all that they're doing to orchestrate our deliverance in these final days. Oh Lord, we come before thee, praising thee, worshiping thee for thy might and thy power and thy great understanding. Oh Lord, the end times that you have foretold until our forefathers are upon us. Oh Lord, give us strength and wisdom to endure all that thou hast foretold. And thank you for another Shabbat. Give us, O Lord, knowledge to rightly divide thy word that is divided in righteousness and in truth. There's great confusion among your inheritance, O Lord, now that you are awakening them. And we know that your hand is sure and that your hand is firm, O Lord, but we need you so very much in these latter days. And we will tarry and depend upon you, O Lord, because there is none else besides you. You are our deliverer and our redeemer. Peace be unto you. Okay. So I'm going to read Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Okay. It says it's a time for everything. A time for everything, there is a season, and a time for everything purposed under the heavens. A time to be born, and a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, and a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, and a time to loose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, a time to rend, and a time to sow, a time to keep silent, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. What profit have he that worketh in that wherein he labored? I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the works that God maketh from the beginning to the end. I know that there is no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life, and also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of God. I know that Whatsoever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. But God doeth, and God doeth it, that men should fear before him. That which have been is now, and that which is to be have already been. And God requireth that which is past. God judges righteous and the wicked. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. I said in my heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked. There is a time there for every purpose and every work. I said in mine heart concerning the state of the sons of men, that God might make manifest them, and that they might see that themselves are beasts. For that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts. Every one thing befalleth them, as the one dieth, so dieth the other. Yea, they have all one breath, so that a man have no preeminence above a beast, for all is vanity. All, all goes unto one place, all are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth? Wherefore I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that is his portion. For who shall bring him to see what shall be after him? Okay, so that was Ecclesiastes chapter 3. A time for everything. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. Okay, so with that being said, I was going to go into our current event.
States. Definitely the European economies already being hit. My guess is that Europe is already in a contraction or a downturn. Certainly the inflation, which topped 10% in the most recent reading, is the highest in many decades. Europe is feeling a lot of pain. And as the temperatures get colder, so the demands for heating increase, the pain will also increase. Will Europe survive? Absolutely, it will survive. Economic hardship from this? Yes. And the idea of negotiating a peace is actually to stop pain that is avoidable. The pain is great, it could get greater. The risks are very high. This confrontation is extremely dangerous. There's lots of subterfuge and escalatory steps. The UK, according to Russia, was part of an attack on the Black Sea Fleet a few days ago. There have been all sorts of events that are really dangerous. It's reported today that the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant has been cut off from the grid. I don't know whether that's true today, but what I do know is that the shelling of that plant, most likely by Ukraine, which is trying to retake the plant, is extremely dangerous for everybody. So we need to get the parties back to the negotiating table, not just Ukraine and Russia, because that actually is not even necessarily the main line in a much more serious way. But that is for the sake of everybody, for safety, economy, getting out of this mess before we have unlimited disaster.
Why is Europe's economy getting hammered these days? Is it because of the sudden cutoff in Russian oil and gas? Why are we seeing a decline in a sharp decline in output?
This is mainly the result of the war and the sanctions regime and the cutoff of energy. It's what we call an adverse supply shock. And I studied this already 40 years ago because in the 1970s, there was the Arab oil embargo against the Western countries after the 1973 war in the Middle East. And that led to a sharp downturn and higher inflation throughout Europe and the United States, what we call stagflation. I wrote my PhD dissertation on that topic back in 1980. This is what we're seeing again in Europe. Europe is being hard hit by a sudden cutoff of energy. Is it devastating? It's a lot of economic pain. It's a reduction of living standards. It's a hit to European industry. This was made worse by the destruction of the Nord Stream pipeline, which I assume, just based on circumstantial evidence.
That was exactly my next question.
Yep.
A lot of money was invested in, and a lot of time and money was invested in constructing the Nord Stream pipeline, which is out of operation now. Who do you think was responsible for sabotaging it? I mean,
I think most independent, knowledgeable observers believe that this was probably a US, UK operation, the kind that does when any occasions. What we say is the motive, the means, and the opportunity. And I think the US and the UK had all three of them. The finger pointing to Russia doesn't make much sense. This was Russian infrastructure that was key for Russia, European ties, which Russia hopes will someday be restored. So I don't think that Russia bombed its own infrastructure. We don't know for sure, but when a president of the United States says in February, I think it was February 7th, President Biden said, when asked by a reporter, he said, if Russia invades Ukraine, there will be no more Nord Stream. The reporter was quite puzzled and said, Mr. President, this is a German-Russian piece of infrastructure. How can you say that? And it was quite in my view.
Technical issues this morning, huh?
For negotiations, for understanding each other, for listening to red lines, for U.S. leaders thinking, well, if we were in Russia's position, how would we feel about X, Y, and Z? And I think if we had more of that, and by the way, also true of U.S. relations with China, we'd have a much safer world.
Okay. Any comments on that?
I was down to talk to my doctor about Rybelsus. Ask your healthcare provider about Rybelsus today.
1 minute.
I'm so fat. Brendan, you're not fat. It's the shirt. Look at Nate. He's too classic.
Okay, I got one more though. Let me get it. Excuse me.
I'm gonna get into
that.
The ceremony that took place
for
what's going on is November 6th to the 18th is something called COP27, a United Nations gathering for climate change. And this year it has a main focus on the religions of the world coming, how they're going to teach their different religions about how we really need to mainly be focusing on climate change and man-made climate change. And part of this event that's taking place is these religions decided to get together and meet at what is widely believed to be Mount Sinai. I know many people don't believe that what they claim to be Mount Sinai is, and it's in a different location, but they believe that it's at this Mount Sinai where Moses received the original first commandment. And they were going there to have a mock ceremony of their new 10 Commandments. This article is from the Times of Israel that says activists smashed tablets atop Mount Sinai to launch faith-based climate push. So for anyone who's unaware, when Moses first received the 10 Commandments on Mount Sinai, he had the Hebrews down there worshiping a golden calf that had been made of and within this article, it explains what was on the tablets was made by youth from the Israeli search for future, printed with the broken promises in Hebrew. Their tablet painted green to symbolize the green commandments. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. And it really almost seems as if it's like out with the old, in with the new. Get rid of the old commandments. We'll smash these tablets and come with the new broken promises. I mean, and
of course they'll commandments now.
And with all these different religious leaders involved in the ceremony, it's pretty strange to just see that happening. Here's another article from the Times of Israel, and it says multi-faith leaders to gather in Israel and around the world for climate repentance. Jews, Muslims, Christians, Hindus, and Buddhists from Israel, Egypt, and the US, India, Spain, and the UK plan to gather on Sunday around the world to call for global leaders to act on climate repentance and to implement 10 climate principles. Believers that God is in control of things. Psalm 147:8 says, "Who covers the sky with clouds, prepares rain for the earth, and causes grass to grow on the hills." Psalm 147, and hail, snow, stormy wind that executes his command. Proverbs 8:29, which is a huge one in in correlation with also about rise. He says when he assigned to the sea its limits, when he marked out the foundations of the earth, see that the water won't pass us. So truly, again, we know
God is in
control
control
and
things
will
will come back.
Okay. Any comments on that? What's up, Mike? No comment? Okay, so I got a little need to know information right here. I thought this was pretty big. Let me check it out.
You guys so excited, brother.
Yeah. Sorry, let me get. Okay, Rabbi Eliezer. Okay. Section 24. Nimrod and the Tower of Babel. Here we go, family. Write it down. Go ahead, Ak.
Nimrod and the Tower of Babel. Noah brought his sons and his grandsons, and he blessed them with their several settlements, and he gave as inheritance the earth. He especially blessed Shem and his sons.
Especially him. Now, this is about who we are. They want to say anti-Semitic, right? Read, go ahead.
He especially blessed Shem and his sons, making them dark but comely. And he
blessed them, not making them, we're going to read it in Hebrew, to be
dark but comely.
Dark but comely. And
he gave them the habitable earth. He blessed Ham and his sons, making them dark like the raven.
And go ahead. Hey, let's look at Japheth.
And he gave them as an inheritance the coast of the sea. He blessed Japhet and his sons, making them entirely white.
This is their book, family. Write it down. This is their book. Shem is black, Ham is dark black, and Japheth is white.
That's right.
So says the rabbis that they go by. And these were written for the time of our ancestors in Babylon, y'all. That's all of the details that Elder Zohar is trying to bring out. That these were written by
I am black and comely, but we know the word for and is why. It's not saying but, it's saying and. But people who are racist, they can't bring themselves to say and. So they choose to use the word but we know the word is why there. And we know the word that they're saying for dark, we know it's the word shachor. And that word is shachor, it's the feminine, but it's using the root word shachor, which only means black. But when they do English translations, they will choose, some you can see, King James puts black, others can't bring themselves to say dark. So I know you're going to show the act. I'll let you go.
Dang, Toda. All right. So we're going to show you. First, I want to show y'all the word in strong, shakor. Hebrew word 87835. Let me put it in here, okay? Y'all look it up. Black in Hebrew. Black equals shakor. Okay, H 7836. I put it in the chat. Okay, I put it in the chat so everybody can see. This is the word we're looking up, okay? H 7836. So let me pull that up first so people can see the words in Hebrew. Okay. H 7836. Shakor. Oh, 7835. 7835, family. Sorry about that. 7835. This is the right one. Black. I'm putting it in the chat. Shakor. H 7835. This is why they don't want us knowing Hebrew, y'all. Okay. All right. Okay. So now it's on the screen. Let me see if I can enlarge it. I might not be able to with this, but this is what we're looking at. Okay. 87835 on the screen. Shakar. A primitive root to the idea of duskiness or early dawn, to be dim or dark in color. But what does it mean here, family? What does it say? To be black. To be black. To be black. Shakor means that you are black. Okay.
Yes.
The letters are Sheen, Kaf, and Resh. Shakor. Three. That's the root. Sheen, Kaf, Resh. Okay. If it's plural, if it means many people are black, it would be Shakorim. Sheen, K, Resh, Yod, Mesophi. So now we're going to show you that it doesn't just say here, like here when they translated it into this English, it says Noah brought his sons and his grandsons, and he blessed them with their several settlements, and he gave them as an inheritance all the earth. He especially blessed Shem and his sons, making them dark, but comely. Noah says he made them black and beautiful. Black and beautiful is what it says, not dark and comely, black and beautiful. All right, so now let's read it in Hebrew. All right. Barak, Noach, or Noah blessed, Ubaniah and his sons. Shena, Wayibarek, and he blessed them. Wayibarek Otam, and he blessed them. Elohim, and Elohim blessed them. Bamit Noteach. I'm not sure what that word is. Mitnoteha. He blessed them with the gifts, right? Matan is gifts. So I think he blessed them with gifts. Over all the earth. He gave God, or Elohim gave Noah and his sons an inheritance and gifts over all the earth. Barak Lashem, and he blessed Shem, Ulbaniah and his sons, Shekorim, to be black. Oh man, it went back again. Okay, are we here? We're in the same place, family. Okay. Bear with me. I'm trying to highlight the words, and sometimes it's a little difficult. Okay, Shekorim, he blessed them to black. Word. This is the word. Let me pull it up from Strong's again. This is the plural sense of the word. H 7835, to be black. Let me put it in the chat again, okay?
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? So that's what he was reading out of was the Tomar. That's so-called these Jews, when they came on the scene, they said that when Moses was up on Mount Sinai, he got it's an oral side to it too. Although he was communicating 40 days and 40 nights on Mount Sinai with the Lord, he also had a oral part of it that was passed down. which is what they, that's where the Tomar come in at. Just and it's kind of like when they got to the King James Bible, that's where the numbers at and the information they got in the middle. They, the original scrolls didn't have no verses and numbers and all that in it. So they kind of pattern that off of the Tomar. They can pretty much lead you and give you whatever definition they want to lead you in a certain direction they want to lead by you following the these guidelines in the middle and the little annotations they got at the bottom and all that. They're going to tell you what they want you to know. Okay. But the thing was, the reason I showed that was, like I've been saying, you got JFAT is European. Then you got Shem, which is a man of color, and then you have Ham as a man of color. How are they all his sons? You have to go back to what originally happened. You got the Ham was a 6-day man that was created on the 6th day with a woman. Then he created, he formed Adam on the 8th day after he rested. And then Cain came about from when the serpent had relations with Eve. And so what I was reading last night was in the book of Lamech, it tells you point blank that curse means to be turned white. And we know that because of what happened to Miriam. When Miriam was talking against Moses, the Lord came down and he cursed Miriam. He turned her white. But the only reason why she received her skin back to its original color was Moses was there, and Moses prayed for her. But when he turned Cain white, wasn't nobody there to pray for him. Let me read it right quick. And that's how they didn't trick us on that, because they want to try to make you think it's some kind of mark, like a gash on his ear or some kind of peg they put in his ear was the mark. But the mark on Cain is the same story with Cain. Let's look at it right quick, and then we'll move on. I don't want to get sideballed in this, but so we see right here in Genesis that let me get it. The curse of Cain right here says, and he said, chapter 4, verse 10, and he said, "What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother cried unto me from the ground. Now thou art cursed from the earth, which have opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee a strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shall thou be in the earth." So what is the strength of the earth? The earth has melanin in it. Just like the melanin is what give us all the talents and gifts that we have. And that's what make our skin dark, is the melanin. It's protecting us from the sun. So if Cain the earth is not gonna give us strength to Cain, that's because he didn't remove the melanin from Cain. So the earth don't have nothing to do with it. So you keep reading the verse 13, and Cain said unto the Lord, "My punishment is greater than I can bear." It says, "Behold, thou hast driven me," right here, "out this day from the face of the earth, and from the face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me." They're gonna slay him because he ain't the same as them. He done took the melanin from him. He's sticking out like a sore thumb. Then verse 15 says, "And the Lord said unto him, Therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken upon him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain." See that? The Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest anyone find him. So right there, he took the melanin out of him. And you go back to the story with Miriam. He came down in a cloud. First of all, he angry right here because Cain and killed Abel. So he come down in the cloud. He came down in the cloud with Miriam. Then when he ascended back up, the cloud left. Miriam, it says, "Behold, Miriam was white as snow." Same thing right here. When he ascended back up after he finished talking to Cain, behold, he was white as snow. First white man. So anyway, so he did the same thing with Miriam. The only reason 7 days passed, 6 days, and then a Shabbat, and then Moses prayed for her, and then he gave her a skin back. The skin returned back to her. But that didn't happen with Cain. Okay. Any comments on that before we move forward? Okay, so yeah, so with that being said, I'm gonna go to a Q&A. Anybody got any questions or comments about anything they want to bring up? You want to talk about? Okay, I'm gonna play this right here, and then we'll go into the class.
Africa and let me say it. Are trying to unravel this whole mystery, and we are. Watch this video. Please watch to the end because I'm going to break this down, because if not, you'll be led astray. Now, what does that have to do with the African American community? That's where we have to turn to the Bible. We have to understand what the prophets of Israel has been telling us and been prophesying to prepare us for this day. And it's not going to be a long message, but it's very clear. Friends, I'm sitting down praying, and a voice from heaven speaks to me. Today, I have to tell you what the voice of heaven has said. The voice of heaven said, Africa has the seed of Israel all throughout the continent. All throughout the continent. This was a surprise for me, friends, when I saw these clusters in Africa, when I start to hear the report. Friends, because of you, we distribute 1,000 books. And our people rejoicing, our people returning to the roots. We are starting to hear reports of revelation in Africa. Of the Jewishness among the Lembas from Kenya, from the Igbos, from Madagascar. We're getting all of those reports, and God spoke to me before I even opened the scriptures. And he says to me, you know what this is happening? This is happening because the bride have an article of clothing in Africa, and unless Africa is ready, the bride cannot be ready. Remember, the bride is whole, the bride is full, and a major part of the house of Israel, what we scripture call Zera Israel, the seed of Israel, is right there, hidden in Africa. In a minute, you will understand what's happening in the United States of America. Tune in with me. Stay on this message right now. I need you to focus. It's starting to happen among the natural branch in Africa, which is the seed of the house of Israel. This is the root. They are returning to the root. Zimbabwe is experiencing a return to the root. And when Zimbabwe, Batpotsi, where Nigeria, where Kenya, where Madagascar will return to the root, it will affect every black person in the world. You know why? Because they are spiritually connected to Africa, and Africa to the 12 tribes of the house of Israel. So if we heal the root, we are going to be healing the entire, which including the African American community, friend, in the United States. But Satan doesn't want it. So now what does he do? He is turning African Americans against Jewish people without knowing that they are affecting the root that they actually belong to. And there's only one who can restore them to the real identity, and his name is Yeshua. And the time is now. This is why we are seeing this revival. Look with me what it says according to our sages. It says, according to Amos chapter 9 verse 7. Check this out. I saw this verse, I was floored. It says Israel, these northern tribes, Nikreu, they are called Kushim. They call Kushim. The word Kushim comes from the word Kush. Kush is Ethiopia. Or the areas this is from the Talmud, quoting Amos chapter 9 verse 7. Alo Adam Li sons of the Kushim.
Is mentioning even Moses and the wife of Moses, referred to in Hebrew as a, Cushi, which is referred to as Ethiopian or black. Can you kind of rectify? Because I know that they, explain, because the Midrash, the oral Torah, kind of gets into that whole idea a little bit. If you could expand on that.
Well, first, this just seems like a glaring contradiction because first, it's a Cushite, and priestess may help us based on what they've received from the transmission all the way from Moses. That indeed she was a Midianite. They refer to her as a Cushite because that was a term used to describe someone of beauty. This is what they said to any Ethiopian. So this term was, I guess, Ethiopians were good looking back then. They're good looking today, I guess. I'm not the judge for that.
Kushim. You, Israel, are called Kushim. Why? Because the prophet is telling us that there is part of Israel, let's call them the remnant. Let's call them those who have been scattered, who are like the Kushim. Now, when the prophets speak about them, he's not speaking about them in a favorable way. Why? Because they have been scattered. They have been gone. They are no longer there. Look at this. It says in Amos, to me, O Israelite, you are just like the it's translated as Ethiopians, but it is not say Ethiopians. That's not what Hebrew Holy Tongue says. Let us not manipulate the Holy Tongue. It says Cushim, Atem Libnei Israel. You are like the Cushim, declared the Lord. Why? Because Israel is there in the Cush. True, I brought Israel up from the land of Egypt, but also the Philistine from and has a name, and one of the names that Israel is called by is Cushim. Cushim is a generic name for anybody who is black. Now, I want to be careful here. I am not saying that every black person is from the seed of Israel. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying that, as we're going to see in 1 minute, it is this specific group of the house of Israel who is scattered in Africa that is called Cushim. That's speaking about, specifically here, about a subset from the house of Israel. Now, check this out. Rather, just as the Cushites did because of the dark skin, so too the Jewish people are distinguished by their action. In their tradition, and here the Talmud itself recorded, and it says at times they're going to look at Cushites like regular Africans, but they are really Israelites. They are part of the seed of the house of Israel. We have a movement today that is a very dangerous movement. They call the Black Israelites. They're anti-Semitic. They hate the Jewish people. But you see, this is what a Satan wants to do. He wants to take a little grain of truth and he wants to twist it, pervert it, and manipulate it. In reality, Israel explained to us that it is this exact seed of a that is needed to bring Israel.
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? Yeah, like I was telling you, you see what he's doing. He's trying to tie, like I said, the thing with this, especially with Kanye West, is they trying to tie themselves and the Israelites. They trying to say, yeah, there's some tribes in Israel that's dark skinned, but they part of it too. The 10 tribes was dark, but Judah, Benjamin, Levi, were white folks. And they using that's the narrative that you see them doing now. They're saying that, yeah, we waking up, find out that we Israelites, but that's only part of it. Not understanding that we getting it twisted because we're going against the root, which is them, that's over there. But they've been doing this. They've been finagling this narrative for a long time. I just peeped it out through the Most High. Lord was showing me how that's what they're doing. They're starting to have all these different dialogues where, like with the guy Rosenberg, he dialoguing with these Israelite groups, and trying to bring peace, like the brother was saying, trying to bring a bridge, build a bridge between the Israelites and the Jews that's over there. But that ain't nowhere in Scripture. They see their time running out, and they trying to finagle this game right here, where they trying to make us believe that we are one. But we know we not all one, because Most High got a judgment set for them. It don't add up with Obadiah. At the end of Obadiah, and it don't add up with Malachi, where he said in Ezekiel 35, where he said Esau was gonna be stubble, and Jacob and Ephraim and Judah is gonna be the fire and the flame, and Esau gonna be the stubble. So that's not adding up. So you got to be be aware of that. Okay. So like I said, anybody got any comments on that? Okay, so we're gonna go into the topic of the class, and it's the wisdom of Solomon. So I was looking at that, and I want to come from from another perspective that is gonna shed more light on why. You got to ask the question, why was Solomon so wise? Why was Solomon the way that he was? So we're gonna start at, we're gonna pick it up with David. Solomon is David's son. So we know that David is the Messiah. So it would only be fitting and proper that Solomon would be wise, but we're gonna go into it a little further than that, a little deeper. So I'm picking it up in 2 Samuel, right? So David was the first king, and when David existed, Israel was at its peak. All the tribes together, there wasn't no split, none of that. So I'm in 2 Samuel chapter 7, and Most High made a covenant with David. I'm gonna pick it up right at I'll start at verse 1. David loved the Lord so much, and he was sitting in his house that he knew the Lord had brought into existence. But he was saying that, understanding the story and understanding the plight of the Lord of hosts, of Israel Redeemer, he was saying that he don't have a house, and he had such a zeal for the Lord, he wanted to build him a house, which is the temple. So we're gonna pick it up with that understanding. And it came to pass, when the king sat in his house, that the Lord had given him rest round about from all his enemies. That the king said unto Nathan, the prophet, see now, I dwell in a house of cedar, but the ark of the Lord dwelleth in caves, which is in that the tabernacle in the wilderness, the tent. And Nathan said to the king, go do all this in thine heart, for the Lord is with thee. So Nathan advised him to go ahead and do, with the zeal that he had, go ahead and proceed forward and build a house for the Lord of hosts. But that night, in verse 4, it says, came to pass that night that the word of the Lord came to Nathan, saying, go and tell my servant David, thus says the Lord, shall thou build me a house for me to dwell in, whereas I've dwelt in any house since the time that I brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt, even to this day. But I have walked in a tent and in a tabernacle, right? In all the places wherein I have walked with all the children of Israel, spake I a word with any of the tribe of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, why build ye me a house of cedar? Now therefore shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus said the Lord of hosts, I took thee from a sheepcote and following sheep to be ruled over my people Israel. And I was with thee whatsoever thou wentest, and I have cut off all thy enemies out of thy sight, and I have made thee a great name, like to the name of the great men that are in the earth. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and I will plant them that they may dwell in a place of their own and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them anymore as before time. And it's since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and I've caused thee to rest from all thine enemies. Also the Lord telleth thee that he shall make thee a house. So this will Solomon come in at. It says 12. And when thy days are fulfilled, this is what the Lord hosts telling David. When thy days are fulfilled and thou shalt sleep with thy father, I will set up thy seed after thee. That's Solomon. Solomon proceeded to the throne after David, to David's throne after David died. So this is the seed right here, Solomon, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. That's Solomon. Then 13, he shall build me a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of men and the children of men. So let's look at that. So David had all this desire because the Lord had, brought him to where he was at. He wanted to build him a house, and but because of what David had done, all the blood that David had shed, he wasn't going to allow David to build a house, but he's going to let Solomon build it. So it would only be fitting and proper when you understand that he's going to need that wisdom in order to accomplish what the Lord wanted done. And then not only that, him preceding David, it was only fitting and proper that he would possess an excessive amount of wisdom. So we're going to go to, we just saw that was prophesied. Now we're going to go into 1 Kings, right? And we're going to see what happened. Okay, so he's already told David he was going to sleep with his fathers. Then he's going to bring Solomon on the scene and build a house for him, right? So I'm in 1 Kings chapter 3. Okay, let me see if I'm in the right place. Okay, so he goes Solomon. He comes on the scene, right? Become king, and it says, chapter 3, verse 1. Solomon made affinity with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and took Pharaoh's daughter and brought her into the city of David until he had made an end of building his own house and the house of the Lord and the walls of Jerusalem round about. Only the people sacrificed in the high places, because there was no house built unto the name of the Lord unto those days. So here we go right here. Verse 3, chapter 3 of 1 Kings, verse 3. And Solomon loved the Lord. That's only fitting and proper because David loved the Lord. Walking in the statutes of David, see that? His father. Only he sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places. And the king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for that was the great high place. 1,000 burnt offerings did Solomon offer upon that altar. In Gibeon, the Lord appeared unto Solomon in a dream by night. And God said, ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said, thou hast showed unto thy servant David, my father, great mercy, according to as he walked before thee in truth and in righteousness and in uprightness of the heart with thee. Okay, righteousness. It said righteous and in righteousness of heart with thee, and thou hast kept for him this great kindness that thou hast given him a son. Here you go, to set on his throne as it is this day. And now, O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father. That was already prophesied. And I am but a little child, and I know not. Look at this. I know not how to go out or to come in. This is where the wisdom come in at. He's telling the Lord right here, I don't know what to do. So 8, and thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for a multitude. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart, to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad, For who is able to judge this thy so great a people? And the speech pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this king, had asked this thing. And God said unto him, because thou hast asked of this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither have thou asked for riches for thyself, nor hast asked the life of thine enemies, but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and an understanding heart, so that was none like unto thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. And I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David walked, then will I lengthen thy days. And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and offered up burnt offerings and offered peace offerings, and made a feast to all his servants. So we see right here, Solomon came right along, right in, and what he had promised David manifested itself right here. So Solomon realized that the job at hand, he needed a lot of abundance of wisdom, and he prayed to the Lord for it, and he gave it to him. Okay, so let's go to chapter 4, right? And chapter 4, I'm gonna pick it up in verse 29. And I'm tying it to 2 Samuel chapter 7. It says, and God gave Solomon wisdom and understanding exceedingly much, and largeness of heart, even as the sands that are in the seashore. And Solomon's wisdom excelled the wisdom of all the children of the east country, and all the wisdom of the Egypt. So here we go right here. For he was wiser than all men. Here we go. Than Ethan, the Ezrahite, and Heman, and Chakal, and Dorda, the sons of Mahal, and his fame was in all nations round about. And he spake 3,000 proverbs, and his songs were 1,005. And he spake of trees, from the cedar tree that is in Lebanon, even unto the hyssop that springeth out of the wall. He spake also of beasts, and of fowl, and of creeping things, and of fishes. And there came of all the people to hear the wisdom of Solomon, from all kings of the earth, which had heard of his wisdom. So what this wisdom is that Solomon got? Okay, so we see right here that in verse 33, he spake of trees and of cedar trees that is in Lebanon, even of the hyssop tree. So he's dealing with the same thing that when you go back to Sir Francis Bacon, which is Shakespeare, these Edomites, they trying to duplicate Solomon, Newton, and the guy that what his name, Darwin. These Edomites are trying to perpetrate this. They out, you always see on the movies, they got a even John Quincy Adams, one of the presidents, he got this big old greenhouse, and he up in there fumbling with the plants, doing all that came from here, Solomon. But what I want to shine a light on, which I think a lot of people don't know, is 31 says, well, he was wiser than all men, than Ethan the Ezrahite, right? So who is this Ethan, right? Go to First Chronicles 15, right? Go to First Chronicles 15. Let me get it. First Chronicles 15, verse 19. And it says, so the singers of Heman, Asaph, and Ethan, there he is. These were appointed to sound with cymbals of brass. So they tied to David. David was a musician. Levites. Not only were they wise, but they was musical too. So Ethan is one of the chief musicians with David. That's who David dealt with, right? So check it out. Now you go to Psalms 89. Okay, go to Psalms 89, and then you find out that said God sure promises to David. So David ain't write this. Ethan wrote it. Let's look what Ethan said. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. With my mouth will I make, see, I will sing, he's a musician. With my mouth will I make known thy faithfulness to all generations. This is all generations. Anybody read it? 2, for I have said, mercy shall be built up forever. Thy faithfulness shall thou establish in the very heavens. I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn unto David, my servant. See that? So he telling you, letting you know who the Messiah is. This is one of the wisest men on earth. It's not a song. It's not a song of David. It's a song of Ethan. Then he says, 4, thy seed will I establish forever, and build up thy throne to all generations. Selah. And the heavens shall praise thy wonders, O Lord, thy faithfulness also in the congregation of the saints. For who in the heavens can be compared unto the Lord? Who among the sons of the mighty can be likened unto the Lord? God is greatly to be feared in the assembly of the saints, and to be had in reference to all them that are about him. O Lord God of hosts, see that? It's Ethan talking. Who is a strong Lord? See that? Strong one. El, right? Likened unto thee, or to thy faithfulness round about thee. Thou rulest the ragings of the sea, when thy waves thereof rise, thou tillest them, right? Stillest them. Thou hast broken Rehab in pieces as one that is slain. Thou hast scattered thine enemies with thy strong arm. The heavens are thine, the earth also is thine. As for the world and the fullness thereof, thou hast founded them. The north and the south, thou hast created them. Tabor and Hermon shall rejoice at thy name. Thou art a mighty arm, strong in thy hand, and high in thy right hand. Justice and judgments are the habitation of thy throne. Mercy and truth shall go before thee. Blessed is the man that knoweth. Look at this. Blessed is the people that know the joyful sound. They shall walk, O Lord, in the light of thy countenance. In thy name shall thy rejoice all the day, and in thy righteousness shall they be exalted. For thou art the glory of their strength. In the favor, in thy favor, our horn shall be exalted. So we know what the horn is. The horn is David. Let me get that right quick. Psalms 132. You want to read all that, Psalms 89, you can, but I'm in Psalms 82, 132. Shine a light on his horn. So it's not just all of a sudden now we find out, we know who the Lord of hosts is and what David wrote is. They already knew all this. These wise men been proclaiming that. They just tricked us off with the scriptures. So 132, Psalms 132, start at verse 16. I will also clothe the priest with salvation, and our saints shall shout aloud for joy. There will I make the horn of David. That'll go the horn right there. The horn of David to bud. I have ordained a lamp for my anointing, for the Messiah. So this guy right here, that the Most High is telling Solomon he made him liken unto, is telling you that David is Messiah. And he also telling you
important security message. Your computer has been locked up. Your IP address was used without your knowledge or consent to visit websites that contains identity theft virus. To unlock the computer, please call
Oh, you there? Leonard? Michelle?
Shalom. Can you just hold tight for a minute, please? Prophets of Awakening.
Yeah.
Just having some computer difficulties.
Yeah. Google censorship.
Wow.
They on us. They don't want this truth out.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. Shalom.
Yeah, I don't know. I think. Okay. Yeah. I think these might some this. Okay. Yeah. So let me see. Let everything get situated. Yeah. Okay.
We've been in the matrix the whole entire time.
Right.
Yeah, they tripping, man. So yeah, I was on I was at let me get it. I was dealing with the First Kings chapter 6, right? And First Kings chapter 6, it was when Solomon started building the temple, right? It says, and it came to pass in the 480th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt. In the 4th year, Solomon reigned over Israel in the month of Zib, which is the second month that he began to build the house of the Lord. And the house which King Solomon built for the Lord, the length thereof. Okay, anyway, so my point was I want to shine a light on this month of Zib, right? Which is the second month. So if you go to same chapter, First Kings chapter 6, verse 37, says in the 4th year, the foundation of the house of the Lord was laid in the month of Zib. And I wanted to shine a light on was the fact that you hear me talking about that he served he created Adam on he formed Adam on the 8th day, because of 6 days he created the heavens and the earth. 7th day he rested for the Shabbat. Then the 8th day he came back and he formed Adam. Well, we see right here the same thing going on. He says nothing new under the sun. It says in First Kings 6 and 38, and the 11th year in the month of Bul, which is the 8th month, was the house of the Lord finished throughout all the parts thereof, and according to all the fashion of it. So was the 7 years in building it. So we see the Most High blueprint and all this. It took them 7 years to build it. It was finished on the 8th, in the 8th year, just like he told Moses, circumcise all your sons. When you circumcise them 8 days after they born. So what is he talking about? 6 days, the child is born, 6 days of Sabbath, and then on the 8th day, he circumcised. 8 days. So just wanted to shine light on that. Anyway, so let me get over here. So my thing was that you would figure that when you understand what's really going on, and then you understand why we so hated, and they cut us off from access to anything, because once we get a hold to it. I was listening to I think it was on Prophet Awakening. I was playing a video where they had the last reparations meeting, and the lady was talking, saying about all the thousands of inventions that happened here in America since we've been here. They was made by the slaves, by us, and they were stolen, because the predicament we was in, we wasn't in no predicament to bring no invention to light. They'll steal the ideas and then go patent them and make all the money off of it themselves. So it's coming from this wisdom right here that Solomon possessed. But my point is this: way long before Solomon came, we see right here in the book of Jasher that one of his great grandfathers had great wisdom. Look at it. Canaan. So it says right here in chapter 2 of Joshua, it says, and it was when men continued to rebel and transgress against God to corrupt their ways that the earth also became corrupt. And Enos lived 90 years, and he begot Canaan. Canaan grew up, and he was 40 years old, and he became wise and had knowledge and skill in all wisdom. Like, you know, Joseph had the same thing. And we know that the king, Nebuchadnezzar, looked at Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel, and he found out, he come to the understanding that they was 10 times more wiser than any other people in his kingdom, in his whole realm. It was way more wise than anybody. That's why we hate it, because of our wisdom, and then we also know because of our appearance. So it says, and Canaan grew up, and he was 40 years old, and he became wise and had knowledge and all wisdom, skill and knowledge and all wisdom. He reigned over all the sons of men, and he led the sons of men to wisdom and knowledge. For Canaan was very wise man, and he had understanding and wisdom, and with his wisdom he ruled over the demons and over spirits and demons. And Canaan knew by his wisdom that God would destroy the sons of men for having sinned upon the earth, that the Lord would do in the latter days to bring upon them the waters of the flood. So we see right here, you shouldn't be surprised by the wisdom that Solomon had, because that's commonplace among the Israelites. To, his father David was the same way. It's just that the task at hand for Solomon inquired that the Most High gave him a double dose of wisdom. But it's not we've been down, denigrated, and lied to so long that we can't see these things right here. But we just, at birth, we born with this wisdom and with this knowledge. You just gotta, once you find these things out, you gotta be able to redirect it and conjure it up, bring it up to where you can deal with it, but it's already there. That's why it's so crazy now with all the information that's coming out to see somebody that's steady spewing out the information that was given us in the New Testament, because none of it don't add up at all. So it's not really something for you to get uptight about or get mad about. It's just you gotta understand that like he said, it's not for everybody to receive it. But when you come across somebody that you see is thirsty for it, then you're obligated to give it to them the same way it was given to you. But like I was saying before, my reasoning for doing this right here is that, it's not a coincidence out the blue that Solomon just happened to be born with wisdom and knowledge. It was already prophesied before that he was gonna use Solomon. So Solomon needed that wisdom and knowledge in order to perform what he had for him to perform. Okay. So with that being said, anybody got any comments? They trying to throw us out with these these interruptions, but it's all good. Anybody got any comments? Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna close out right here. And I see everybody for the I see everybody this evening for the evening Sabbath class. But with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom and